Welcome to the season premiere of your favorite skating news show, the GSN News, with, as always, your favorite host,
Mitch Whitmore
and Victor Thorough.
Really thought you were going to keep going.
I'm Laurent Zubrey, and you're watching Global Skating Network.
The ice skating season has just begun. We already got some super exciting results, some news to share with all of you guys. The inline season is about to peak with the World Championships coming up in just a couple of weeks. And make sure you are staying until the end of this episode because
we're giving away free bike shoes. And, we wanted to start off with a little Olympic recap as it just ended. And in my eyes, I think it was the best Olympics in a long time. And the NBC or the coverage in the US, their ratings were way higher than normal, which is a really nice sign because for the past couple decades, it's been slowly declining. And so especially after two COVID Olympics to come back in Paris, and it was just a really cool atmosphere, I thought, throughout the games.
Yeah, we'll see you in Milano, Snoop, hopefully.
Yeah, you have any favorite moments from the games? Yeah, Snoop.
As a Dane, the badminton, the handball were pretty cool. No, the 100 meter, I think, was super exciting. It got very, very close.
Yeah.
That
was such a good story. I was a fan because Noah Lyles talks all this trash online and everywhere he goes. And he does it because he wants to be a showman for the sport, which I think is great. I think everybody now realizes that is a must if you want to have a following and to grow your sport. And then to back it up after all the haters and his beef with the basketball team. And so it was cool to see that one. And
I loved how Paris used Paris. So many venues were sort of integrated in specific areas where they just did a good job in making the Olympics really cool because they use those monuments and specific, venues, but also vice versa for tourism in Paris. That must have been the worst.
The beach volleyball right in front of the Eiffel Tower, the road race finishing there.
Yes.
Also, shout out a U.S. woman. Even the fencing area was really, really cool.
We did also have a lot of ice skaters in Paris.
Right.
I don't know what all of them were doing there, but some of them promoting their sport, skating. Some of them were just there, I don't know, for a good time to experience the Olympics.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of the countries maybe send them as delegation helpers of some sort. Ariana Fontana, of course, being ready to promote the next Winter Games.
Yeah.
We also were going to say, what to you is more important? Do you think the gold medal count or the overall medal count? What would you want your country to have?
I would probably want the overall medal count because I do think that says a little more about the country as a whole, the general level of it. Whereas, you've seen in swimming, you can have one really good swimmer and you can grab 8 golds, but it's hard for one good swimmer to grab 8 golds, 8 silver, 8 bronze medals.
Right. Go back and forth because for the last Olympics in a row, it's been who actually won? Did China win because they won the gold medal count, or did the U.S. win because of the total? I think both. Most people go and you see people hyped about winning a medal. It's not just because it's gold. Maybe a few of the athletes are okay, gold or bust. But you're winning a medal at the games, and I think that's paramount.
Yeah, you see a lot of smiles, not just on the
first
place of the podium at the Olympics.
We also saw some interesting sports at the games. Breakdancing, for one, was an interesting choice. We also have some really interesting choices coming up in LA 2028, where there's squash, flag football, ridiculous, and I'm an American, so you know how silly I think that is. But all before inline speed skating.
We may be a little biased, but I am pretty sure some of you, please say yes out there. Back us up on this, that we should see inline skating at the Olympics before we see more dancing disciplines.
Right. It's crazy that there are so many inliners in the world, and it's in so many parts of the world. Just a shame that it can't get in there yet before some of these. Flag football is basically in 2 countries, so
I think the argument go back and forth, should a sport be really well established and popular to make it to the Olympics, or is it because it makes it to the Olympics that it goes the other way around and then that makes it popular and a little more professional?
Right.
That though, we have seen something that we also recommend you guys to check out. A brand new, almost basically like a TV show, except it's on YouTube, called the Inline Track series. And I think that is some of the coolest thing we've seen from the world of inline in years.
Yeah, if you've seen the latest Netflix documentaries, starting with the F1 series and then the Tour de France, it's very similar to that, and just follows a couple of the pro inline teams. And you were saying that you think it'd be better if it showed the Bart swings and power slide right off the bat, but it still does a good job of showing the sport and maybe can get some traction. And
it is like the way it's made is super professional. You can tell that they put in a decent budget to make this. I do hope that in the future seasons we'll see more teams, whereas right now it's only made around 3 teams: the Bond, the Mariani, and the power slide team. Where I think one of the cool things about the Tour de France, version of it is that they track all the teams, they follow all the teams leading up to the Tour de France, and you just, you can dig into whatever story is interesting. We're here, it is more about these 3 teams, but it is just really well made, and it's putting inline skating in a really cool light.
And it's a start.
Yeah.
Like we at least just need to get something off the ground, and this is really nice to see that there's something heading that direction. Sticking with the inline side of things, Mato de Gimmick is having a phenomenal inline career already and hasn't even raced as a senior on long track, but what do you think we're going to see out of him?
I mean, just the fact that he isn't even a senior yet. He just won the marathon in Bern, beating the 2 previous marathon world champions, senior league here. He's still a junior though. Wow. He beat them fair and square. I did not see the live stream, but I saw images of him where in every single photo he is leading that group until he then ultimately just drops them from his back in the final sprint to beat Nolan Bijaf and Felix Reinen. Knowing what he did last year on the ice, being not this good at inline skating, it's going to be a wild season, I think, for him. It'll be very interesting.
I think so, and he's somebody that already is, turning some heads on ice in that very short period of time. And he's also somebody that skates with his arms on his back the entire race, even in the 1500. What do you think about that?
I mean,
think it's here to stay, or is it a gimmick?
We've been testing it a bit of practice. For me personally, it works. I do think it depends who you are as a skater and what your technique is like. I think it's way easier for short track skaters or inline skaters that grew up skating with their hands in the back. So they already have, I don't know if it's a comfort or just they're used to it.
Right.
They're used to like putting their body in the right, position even with that. But I mean, just the aerodynamic advantage is pretty massive, and we see more and more people do it.
Yeah, we saw Antoine Bellew. Close enough. But we see that he's done it. He did a 1500. It wasn't the best 1500 he's ever done. We saw Dow de Vries over the years. I think a lot of the jumbo squad, we've already seen some pictures where they're skating
out there
arms on the back in the corner. So I think, you're right. It's going to be per person basis, but it's got to be faster if you can do it effectively.
Yeah.
But that's the big if.
Yeah. I watched a little TV reportage on Norwegian TV where they talk a bit with Ragna Vigeland, and she gives her opinion on it. She says she is still undecided whether or not she's going to skate her 1500 meter with the hands on the back or the arms on the back. The Norwegians, the head of the Norwegian Federation, did say they had made some wind tunnel tests where if you compare the arm swing versus having them perfectly tucked in on the back, in the turns can be up to 70 watts at a 29.0 lap.
And you said that they also mentioned like 50% of the field they think is gonna.
I don't
think it's gonna be 50% of the field this year, and that was across all distances.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be quite that extreme, but I do think that it's gonna be more frequent than we've seen in the past.
You think 50% of the distance field?
Not yet.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think so yet. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see the Italians really waiting on that. Seems like later in the game they'll come around, but I'd say we'll see more of it, and over the next probably 3-4 years, I think it'll be 50%. Yeah. Pause. So with some more ice news, we've seen some results kicking off, And up in Canada, Anders Johnson.
Anders Johnson. Anders Johnson.
Did you have a stroke? Skated one of the fastest 500s in the month of August.
In 10 years.
35.2. It's a really good start for that time of year.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not peaked already.
Yeah.
But we also saw Bjorn Magnussen in Hamar.
Which is usually not that fast.
And that's going to be the World Championship ice. So interesting to see.
35.4.
And we did see him skating with Jordan Stolz in Insel quite a bit, so I think that was pretty cool for both of them, but for him to get to train with Jordan a bit.
That's about the results we have for now. We saw a few interesting things. We saw some test races from Antoine Gilles-Beaulieu, from Valérie Malte, but they didn't skate the full 1500. David Leroux posted a 147. Which is not bad for sea level.
Not bad in Quebec at this point in the year. We have our first races here in Salt Lake this weekend, Desert Classic, and then we know that there's quite a few more races starting this weekend. So really going to start seeing a lot more of the action.
Also, Ariana Fontana.
Oh yeah,
long track.
Yeah, and I'm excited. She's had a little bit more long track under her belt and looks way better than last year. So I think she's planning to take it pretty seriously and maybe make that Italian team next year in two disciplines. Long track, short track, that would be pretty cool. A couple other results before we move on, actually. There were 2 world records set within the past month. One in the inline world, Chevy, Sebastian Guzman Bitar, set the 100-meter world record. Pretty darn cool there. He is an absolute freak show, and he skated ice with us last season. He should be coming back out to Salt Lake after the inline worlds, where hopefully he gets some more victories.
Yeah.
And then in the short track world, Sophia Thomp, his wife, set an unofficial world record because she's skating with the men, but she did win that race.
She did lead out the last 6 laps.
So not so bad, but pretty cool unofficial 1500-meter world record on short track, and hopefully other things out of the way, but hopefully she can race both short track and long track World Cups this year.
Yeah, and her season calendar is pretty exciting because there will be 2 weekends in a row World Cup action in Beijing, and she's going to do the short track World Cup. 5 days later, the long track World Cup. And we've seen from the summer that she is pretty good at just hopping back and forth day to day. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited for just to see her, having fun racing across both disciplines. And why not? We have seen that it can work with Doreen Termors and others. So I think she's going to be another one to do it.
Yeah.
Some less fortunate or not exciting news. We saw Antoinette Dong, broke her big toe, which is a tough one. I think that's
of all
the toes. You don't want to break the big one. But a little bit hard to push off. I'm sure the recovery process is going to suck. Just like not feeling confident there, but hopefully she feels better soon. And it's also a long time until the important races for her. The beginning World Cups are probably not going to be,
it's a good
on
thing
her
about,
radar is trying to win it, but working her way towards Worlds.
And good thing about being Dutch is that you don't necessarily have to qualify your own spots. If another person goes in her place to the first World Cup, she can do good at trials in January and then still make it to World Champs. So she's got time.
In other not as fun news, we have not seen anything from Bart Shon as far as coaching in Canada. So it seems like they are trying to go a different direction there, and we'll see what happens with Bart. I could use an assistant coach. Bart, hit me up.
Leave a comment below, Bart.
Just get in touch with us that way.
But on a serious note, I really hope he finds a good place.
Yep.
Ideally, Salt Lake City. But he's just a really good coach with an impressive career as a coach, so many good results, and it'd be a shame to not have his knowledge as a coach benefit skaters out there.
Right. Again, he was on our coaches panel and he had some really good insights, and he was opinionated, which was fantastic to go back and forth with Johan and really see different styles. One final note here, Jordan Stolz, if you haven't heard, is going around making bets with people. He's probably going to be pissed that I'm saying this, but he's betting people on his 100-meter running, again, backed off of the Olympics, 100-meter running prowess. And I won't say the times, but he is planning to do a 100-meter, and he's bet everybody under the sun how fast he can go, and the spectrum is quite large. But I can tell you, he has some confidence in himself that he can run a really fast 100. And after the results are shown, we'll let you guys know.
Up until then, let us know in the comment section. I'm super curious.
I also have money in this game based on how fast, 2 different times, how fast Jordan goes. So yeah, definitely comment. Let us know what you think or how fast you think young Stoli can go.
We're fighting for the TV rights before NBC and Fox and whatever finds out about it.
Camera on Jordan doing a ripping 100. And we also don't know whether or not Paul is going to have the fans cranked up at the Pettit for his 100 meters. So it could be, very different conditions.
Yeah, have to add a second or two there.
Yeah. If you want to win one of these, and hopefully we have your size, but if we don't, sorry, just go into the comments section below and you need to write, it's kind of a trivia question. What was Victor and I's first Junior Worlds? They are different, but what was the place of the Junior Worlds that we each went to?
I didn't know the answer.
And I still haven't told you the answer. So Victor doesn't know either. He could maybe win the shoes, but write it down below if you can figure it out. Where was each of our first long track speed skating Junior Worlds?
A little piece of advice, if you hop on our Instagram, GSN, Global Skating Network, you can also leave a comment there and you have double chance of winning one of these.
Be sure to do so. But I think that's all we've got for our GSN news show. We're glad to be back here and giving you the latest in skating news from around the world.
Yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be so much more stuff here. Obviously, we're going to dive more into the inline skating because,
this is really,
the big
Worlds is around the corner.
Yep. And then results are just going to keep coming in for long track. Season's about to get going.
Subscribe and like and all that stuff if you haven't.
We trust you.
See you next time.